Have you ever stopped to consider how media shapes our societal norms? Let's take a moment to reflect on this, using the world of Disney as our guide. Disney, a household name globally, has been a significant player in the media landscape for nearly a century. Its movies and shows, beloved by generations, have not only reflected but also influenced cultural norms around the world. The princesses, the heroes, the villains, they've all played their part in shaping our perceptions of good and evil, right and wrong, and even our understanding of love and friendship. Yet, as our societal norms evolve, so too does the content we consume. This evolution has sparked an ongoing debate. How should we handle the problematic elements in Disney's vintage content? Some argue for a sanitization approach, removing or modifying elements that no longer align with our modern values. Others advocate for contextualization, preserving the original content, but providing context to help viewers understand the societal norms of the time. This brings us to the heart of our discussion today. Should Disney sanitize or contextualize these elements? On one side of the debate, we have advocates for sanitization. These proponents argue that updating or removing problematic elements in older content is essential to align with modern values. This approach, they believe, makes content more palatable for a diverse audience, catering to a broad spectrum of viewpoints and experiences. But it's not without its critics. Some say that sanitization risks erasing historical context, scrubbing away the blemishes of the past, rather than allowing us to learn from them. Take Disney's recent backlash as an example. The company has been accused of being woke for changing storylines in reboots like The Little Mermaid and Snow White. For some, these changes represent progress, a step towards a more inclusive and representative media landscape. For others, it's a step too far, a revision of history that undermines the original narratives. This divide raises a critical question, one that goes to the heart of how we engage with our past while striving for a better future. The question then becomes, does sanitization erase history, or does it create a more inclusive present? On the opposite end, we have proponents of contextualization. This approach argues for the preservation of problematic elements, but with added context to help viewers understand their historical significance. It's like reading a novel from a bygone era, and alongside it, an annotated guide explaining the societal norms of that period. This method acknowledges the flawed past, while also creating a platform for learning and dialogue about how societal norms have evolved. However, the contextualization argument isn't without its critics. Some worry that this approach, though well-intentioned, may inadvertently perpetuate harmful stereotypes. For instance, if we keep a controversial character in a story but add a disclaimer, does it truly mitigate the potential harm, or does it simply give a free pass to outdated and offensive tropes? One common example of contextualization is the idea of disclaimers on historic content. These disclaimers provide a snapshot of the societal norms when the content was created, serving as both a warning and an educational tool. Yet the question remains, so does contextualization perpetuate harm, or does it provide an opportunity for learning? Now, let's look at what the public thinks. A Newsweek poll has indicated a near-even split in public opinion on this issue. Roughly half of those surveyed support the idea of altering older Disney content to align with modern values, while the other half seems to resist such changes. This reflects broader cultural shifts we are experiencing today, where we are constantly juggling respect for history and the pursuit of social justice. Now, this isn't just about Disney. It's about all media, all storytelling. But Disney, due to its iconic status and vast reach, finds itself at the forefront of this debate. It's a tightrope walk, balancing the love for classic tales that have shaped generations and the need to ensure that these stories are inclusive and respectful to all. And let's not forget, Disney is also a business. It has to consider its brand, its audience, and its bottom line. It's a complex and tricky navigation to ensure that vintage content meets today's standards, especially when the public opinion is so divided. But here's the thing. This debate is a sign of the times. We're in an era where we're reevaluating our past, asking hard questions about representation, about diversity, about what stories we tell and how we tell them. It's a reflection of our evolving societal norms, and media, Disney included, is right in the middle of it, shaping these discussions, influencing them, and being influenced by them. In the end, the debate about sanitizing versus contextualizing problematic elements in vintage content is a reflection of our evolving societal norms. As we continue to grapple with these questions, it's clear that media, Disney included, plays a significant role in shaping these discussions. But the choice between sanitization and contextualization? That remains a complex and nuanced issue for each of us to ponder.